Another day, another draft here on Splash Play, and I am already on the clock here. Got preseason news to talk about, though, but it was a snap. Phil, I had to get the tweet out. Oh my God, I'm struggling. We are trying to make up our exposure on Tyreek Hill, and we're going to do it here today. 7% Tyreek hopefully becomes a field matching 8% here. Within 1 minute of starting the stream, you will not find a hotter start to a draft. But let me put this tweet out. It was a snap fill that I was not ready for. I really thought it was going to have like one of those 11 waiting, and that was not the case today. So my apologies here. But we got to talk about preseason news, and there was a lot of injuries to get into. Just trying to retweet this from my account. Oh, I didn't even get to like it from the Splash Play account. Oh, man, I'm not doing well here. Preseason news, though. Jamar Chase came back to practice. Still not working, though, as his hold-in/holdout continues. He had left practice seemingly to get himself some more leverage. Now he is back in practice, still not practicing. So Jamar Chase, the same situation. I would read that as maybe a good sign for some of the contract talks going on. Perhaps we've seen some progress, and that's resulting in him coming back. But it does seem like one where, hey, we're waiting for the hammer to drop in terms of him actually getting money. That's what we're always looking for here. Got the sticker. Shout out to the chat too. We got some GMs. I need to win the Flock Community Contest 6 for the Squirt Squad. I need to have the money I have to enter VBM, unfortunately. I'll never get to watch live GM. Shout out to S. Krusky here. Glad to see him live. We got the Miami Sun Sentinel, the Dolphins RB room. And there's an exact quote here. It'll be heavy on Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane, with Jalen Wright getting some leftover snaps here and there. Good health provided, of course. I could see Mike McDaniel wanting to ride the hot hand. So who starts may vary week to week. So basically saying not even hot hand in terms of the way we normally think about it, which is, hot hand, this guy is going to go, and then the other guy's going to get some work, and whoever's running hot, whoever's having the better production, that's the guy who gets the work. It does seem like more so we're seeing, at least from the Miami Sun Sentinel, them thinking that it's more of a hot hand in terms of like guys running good the previous game. So that would seemingly bode a little bit better for Achane than that first preseason game did, where it was 9 first-team snaps for Mostert, compared to 2 for Achane. So if you were worried about Achane, I don't think you should be. But, Mostert, I do think, has been undervalued this entire time as a guy that just going to get a shot at lead work for Miami. And we know that's a pretty valuable thing. Travis Kelce article on The Athletic, big profile piece about him not doing football. It was and this exact title of it, the summer of Travis Kelce inside an action-packed offseason as a rising celebrity. Again, this is my one real fantasy football counselor take this year, my one that I feel almost embarrassed about to put out. But Travis Kelce is chasing fame and, again, being in a relationship with the most popular artist in the world, the biggest scam artist of #1 albums on all the rankings and charts, but also, billionaire traveling the world doing concerts and stuff. I don't think it's great for a guy who needs to focus all his attention on being healthy and continuing to fight off the age cliff. So read the article if you want, but I think you'll get where I've been pushing. We got Tyreek here, no Waddle back. Nico would have been a nice value to get. Saquon is a player in the NFL who I am not with the field on. I'm going to go Neighbors here. I feel like I haven't gotten Neighbors in a while. Clearly, I still have enough at 13%, but Neighbors feels pretty good here. Rest of the news items, and I also have some stuff to talk about, some teams I drafted last night. Got a lot to do here. Mark Andrews missing practice with a minor, quote-unquote, undisclosed injury. He had that car accident, missed practice. Though supposedly the practice was a scheduled day. Now he's missing more practice. Something to watch out for. It's something that maybe has something that could portend how things go during the year. Probably not something to freak out over, but it's weird when they're being ambiguous about injuries more so. Christian Kirk's a lot of practice with a calf issue. Won't play in the last preseason game, so he's probably out the rest of the preseason. As a result, his ADP, if I had to guess, he might be down in the 60s. Probably bad CLV coming for old Christian Kirk. So we do have Tyreek Hill. We got Malik Neighbors. Devontae Smith, the pick I like in this range, ADP-wise. Brandon Ayuk would be the pick. I do prefer Devontae, and I still feel like Ayuk can come a little bit cheaper, but we have week 16 correlation with Ayuk. Man. Getting a 16% Devontae wouldn't feel bad for me in that Kellen Moore offense that I really do hold in a lot of esteem. Last year, 2 of the most efficient players in the NFL, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So those guys both did good jobs. I think it's going to be a good situation for Philadelphia. But we're not taking it today. We're going to go Tyreek, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, and we'll see what we get on the way back. But right now, a 0 RB start that I'm not necessarily committed to. That's the way we're pushing right now. Rest of the news items, we got Deontay Johnson back at practice. Then he got hurt again at practice, slipped off the field, came back in and caught a pass. So Deontay a little more banged up than you probably want to see this time of year, but he's back in there after having a few days off the quote-unquote mild groin strain. Zamir White split his workload with Alexander Madison. We talked about in depth on the Sunday video where I went through all of Nathan Yankees data from PFF. Talked about that one being one that seemed like a point of concern, him playing in the third quarter. People now recognizing that. The split has been there 2 preseason games. So has people freaking out on social media. I guess Zamir White honestly should pay more of a price tag, but I kind of thought this is already baked into his price. Like, this is a reason to me he wasn't a 6th round guy, maybe, at least in the 70s kind of pick. But people going to feel differently. Wouldn't shock me to see Zamir White fall into that Tony Pollard to Tyjae Spears range. Worst case, he falls to the Rico Dowdle range, but I don't know if he could fall that far at this point. Something you got to look out for here in the last 20% of drafts in BBM. DeAndre Hopkins expected to play week 1 by Tennessee head coach Brian Callahan. Curtis Samuel week to week with turf toe, so something to watch out for there. Turf toe, normally a 3 to 4 week injury, but week to week, depends on the severity. I had it once, actually, since we moved here, just from having to constantly walk up and down the flights of stairs and somehow hurt my toe in a way, which was turf toe. Sucked so bad. It took a while to recover from it. So that's another injury. That the plantar fascia that Justin Herbert's suffering from. 2 I can relate to. Jalen Polk with first team in practice this week. So maybe a sign he's moving back up after we thought, they were saying he's wide receiver 1. He doesn't play with the first team at all in the first 2 preseason games. Could also, again, be the young guy getting more work as the camp goes on. But Polk, to me, I never really knocked him down because I still think that he's a good play as relative to anything being a good play in New England's offense. And he might fall down a little bit still, but he is, I would say you could buy the dip if you want to get more of him. Mike Williams expected to be participating in practice soon. So some concern, I guess, for people out there afraid that he's not going to be back. They said he's on track for week 1, which honestly is a pretty fast recovery for a slightly older guy. But Mike Williams here looking pretty good, apparently, in his recovery. Going to be back in practice soon. Justin Herbert back doing work at practice. He was lifting weights. Was throwing in 7-on-7s now. Not 11-on-11s yet. We'll see if that happens at some point this week. If I had to guess, maybe next week they do that with him. But seems like he's on pace for week 1. Chuba Hubbard back in drills as well after his little knee scare. So I don't know if he was in the full practice, but was doing drills. And Tank Bigsby had 2 really good quotes that were from the 32 Beat Writers handle retweets. Tank Bigsby, quote unquote, fights for every single yard has garnered notice from coaches, teammates, reporters, and fans alike. And a separate quote from an entirely different reporter, entirely different article says Tank, and again, exact quote, Tank looking like an entirely new back in 2023. That's, I guess, a little bit misphrased. Looking like an entirely new back in 2023, continued to build on his second-year ascension in today's practice with 2 explosive rushes and probably another 4 to 5 solid games throughout the 11-on-11 teams period. So he also caught some touchdown pass on that one. Tank Bigsby, I've said for this entire time, I think is a much more logical pick. People have the stank of last year on him, which is part of why he hasn't come up to the 170s. But him going in the 190s, him going 200s, most of these rooms, I think he's been a good pick. I don't know what my exposure is for him right now. We're almost on the clock here, but let's look at exposure quickly. Maybe not search exposure. Tank Bigsby, I've got 12% Bigsby. So I've been heavy Bigsby. One of my better, my higher dollar late round bets. So I am team Tank Bigsby, and it's nice to hear some positive signal for that. All right, we have Amari Cooper went, unfortunately, so we don't get the easy Tyreek with Amari on the way back. We do have Mark Andrews here and Lamar. We do have Tyreek, Neighbors, Ayuk. Correlation-wise, nothing too fun here, really. I'm going to go Terry. We almost made it up at Pickens, but I've gotten enough Pickens lately, and I keep taking Pickens because he's falling in rooms. So I'd rather take the guy I actually like, who I think has shown enough for me this offseason based on the priors I already had for him. So we go Terry McLaurin here. We have Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, and Terry McLaurin. So some correlation for week 16 with the Niners and Miami. Nothing for Cleveland, though, because we did strike out on Amari Cooper on this first pick. Everybody giving the GMs, and Bigsby likes the dirty hose. Okay, I don't know about that. And what's up, bitches? There we go. Team 12 getting funky, not in a good way. The old Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts start and reaching for Achane and Waddle. That's a scene for sure. All right, we're on the clock here. So Lamar goes. Mark Andrews remains. AR does go later at this point. I feel okay about my Kirk exposure. I could take more Mark Andrews, but in this build, I don't know that he makes the most sense. I'm taking more AR. I'm taking more AR. We're now to 10% AR. I still had an outside goal, getting to 16%. And hey, we've got him week 17 correlated with Malik Neighbors. So we take AR here. I'll put on the jersey. I didn't realize I drafted AR on drafters over the weekend. I forgot to put on the jersey. So that's where we are currently in the AR process. I need to get my head back in AR space, given how good he's been. All right, we got Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin is the team with AR at QB. A return to an old comfy blanket here with AR for us. I'm feeling good about it. So we talked all the preseason news, guys. If you got any value out of that, if you enjoyed that, if it helps you out at all, please subscribe down below. Of course, I do drafts here every day on the home stretch at 11 a.m. in the week, doing BBMs on Underdog. So check it out with promo code SPLASH. And it's actually now $1,000 in bonus cash they'll give you. So if you are a new deposit and you've been holding out this entire time, like, oh, that deal's going to get better. The deal got better. So $1,000 in bonus cash with promo code SPLASH right now at Underdog. So click the link in the description, do that. If you deposit an Underdog, go check out drafters. Drafters, again, according to the founder, on pace to be like 75 to 80% filled. That means potentially them putting in about $400K in overlay, maybe a little bit less than that if it's 80%. But you can really make some money for yourself, I think, on drafters. Last year was 76% filled, and I finished top 110 with only 9 entries. So I would say it's a good thing, good EV for you on drafters. I know a few of you signed up. And actually, real fast, just give the shout outs for that because I do appreciate the drafters support because, frankly, that's what helps me fund BBM right now. The irony of it all. Shout out to your Superman, Grizzy with 2 eyes, Juice Brenner, Mike with many 666s, the Devils Mike, Bond Goose, DG Stern, Jobs, DG Eagles. Shout out to you guys for signing up on drafters. And you too, I'll give you a shout out for signing up on drafters too within the next, I guess, week or so. God, it's almost over. The journey's almost over, guys. So got a lot of drafts left. I'm a little bit off. I think BBM is now 77% filled, 78 as of this morning, somewhere in that range. Let me just check it real fast. NFL, BBM, yeah, 77.1% filled. So if you're trying to be on pace with the fill rate, you should be at about 116 entries, I believe. So I'm a little bit off pace with that, with this being my BBM number 112, in honor of famous R&B group 112. That's why I've done it. That's why I've drafted 112 teams. It's solely for the Puff Daddy. Fucking, I guess we can't celebrate him in any way anymore. But shout out Puff Daddy for leaving the country or whatever. Is this a double QB start league? No, unfortunately it's not. But this guy thinks it is. Hey, at least he got a second receiver in round 6. So he's got that going for him. It's a red badge guy too. So I think the thing we've talked about a lot here on stream this year, probably more than any other year, having a red badge at this point doesn't mean for shit. It's just, you could have just lost a lot of money for a couple of years in a row. So that is where we are in the red badge community. Still think in general, you assume a red badge drafter will be sharper than a non-badge drafter. But this team, the 12 hole, is unequivocally like a non-badgy team times 1,000. And number 2 did it as well. Good point. Yeah, Lamar and Patrick Mahomes over here. I mean, I can tell you, I'm not taking another one here. And C40 will be making a splash. Oh, thank you. That's the great play on words of the promo code is always what we're looking for. Fat Keenan Allen falls 67. Tough scene for him. He's now behind Odunze. I don't agree with. Joe Burrow at 69. I also don't agree with. Even if you have Jamar Chase. Burrow goes in the 90s. Take Joe Burrow in the 90s if you can get him, which you can. We have AR here. Hollywood Brown, really not at a discount. I've seen him go for much cheaper. Correlation-wise, just nothing. Discount on Mixon doesn't feel bad to end the RB or the lack of RB run. Still in Team Joe Mixon. Think I'll get to 16% of him. Would like to up my Alvin Kamara, but if that doesn't happen today, we're fine with it. Shannon with some good chats today. Fat wide receivers do need loving too. It's true. Look, hey, it honestly for Keenan Allen, like it still could be the big bushy beard. Though I think what I had heard, was it on the ADP chasing or was it, I forget, was it Pete's show? One of the assorted Pete Cinematic Universe show yesterday they were talking about it, where I guess Evan Silva asked Albert Breer, who initially had the report on Keenan Allen being 230 pounds. He'd asked him like, hey, like what was the deal with this? And I guess the team had pitched him on Keenan Allen's added size as a positive, like, the Bears PR team was like, yeah, he's like 230 pounds. Like he's going to be a big power slot kind of thing. So I guess they're viewing it as a positive, but an older player who's been getting by on, good dexterity, good routes, keeping his not great speed at a pretty good clip. Not where you want to see him being fat. I would say that. Or we got AR here. I do think James Conner would really solidify the RB room. We could get some week 17 correlation with Jameson Williams. Value-wise, pick would be Brian Thomas. Do want to get more Brian Thomas too. And I will get Brian Thomas here. Love James Conner. Really do love James Conner. But a little bit of discount on Brian Thomas, but I'm trying to at least get with the field on him after I was so heavily invested in the big board. Brian Thomas is the pick. So we do get a little bit of correlation with him as well with AR in... No, never mind. That's if I correlate Tennessee with this. We get AR at QB, Joe Mixon, our RB here at an 8-pick discount. Tyreek Hill, a little bit of a discount on him. 0.2, still a discount. Malik Neighbors, not a discount. Brandon Ayuk, 0.9 discount. Terry McLaurin, he reached a little bit for him. Brian Thomas, we've got him here. This team is likely also not a great Jaden Daniels team because we'd be running into 2 week 14 buys. So I'm emotionally preparing for that one. Lad McConkey here at 81. So Lad last night, I posted in the Splash Play VIP Discord, which you do get if you join the channel down below for $4.99. You get that. You get my rankings, which are updated painfully. It was a lot updated to do yesterday. We're updated yesterday. You also get 10 team reviews a month for me, which I'm now caught up on. Thank Jesus. But posted yesterday, I was in a draft. Lad McConkey went at 94 in the room. So I don't think that's likely to be always the case, but that would be his floor right now in terms of ADP. So that threw me for a loop because I ranked Lad at 88. My updated rankings yesterday felt like he kind of has to fall playing out of the slot. I saw our guy Adams in chat, so it's not trying to dunk on you, Adam, but I think, this is unfortunately where I am with it. Lad really, to me, a player that should fall, and I think did fall pretty precipitously in that room. I did tweet this team out as well, but I'm going to show you guys it on screen real fast. I thought it was interesting. So this team basically had that I drafted last night. And I will say it again, 10 p.m., 11:30 p.m. on the East Coast. Softest time to draft right now. Of course, we'll get back to my picks in a moment. But this team, AR, a 7-pick discount. Aaron Rodgers, I reached a little bit for the 2 ARs together at last. We got Breece Hall at a 2-pick discount. James Cook, a 3-pick discount. Ramondre, 5. Tajay, 3. Marvin Harrison, 4-pick discount. Ayuk, 7. Diggs, 7. Hollywood Brown, 10. Shakir, right at ADP. AD Mitchell, 2.5, let's say. Wandale, 9. Demarcus Robinson, 12. Alec Pierce, I reached for. I get that. And then Freiermuth at an 8-pick discount. Freiermuth. Tyler Conklin, reached for him to get the AR stack. Theo Johnson, whatever. That wasn't the value part, but really crazy values I think in that room. That ended up being about 100 points of CLV in the same day. So I do think right now in these rooms, I will defend it. I know the data from Mike Leone, who's the sharpest data guy, I think, in the best ball business. The data in the Best Ball Manifesto says drafting 12, 1 p.m. East Coast time's the best. I will defend the 10 p.m. time until the death and think you are losing EV if you're not doing it. All right, we're on the clock here. And you get Lad McConkey at 94. It's like it's like a sale. Jalen Warren, a little bit of value on him right now. He and Brooks are falling in rooms. Jaden is here. How are we going to dig our ways out of this one, guys? Let's find out. Jaden Daniels, AR, same bye week. But I love them both. Makes it a 3 QB build, probably. But we don't have any correlation with Jake Ferguson, so I don't know. I have an elite tight end. Been avoiding it's to be clear, not sniper, stalker would be the thing. When you take 33% of a man's action in 1 year without his consent, I think that would be stalker status, but he has not been in a room for a while. I think the timing's throwing him off, and apparently he's been in Davis Maddox streams, Neil Orfield streams, so he's got new friends, quote unquote. New people to want a piece of their hair, I guess is what he could hope for. And hopefully that continues forever. I really did not like that guy. Lack of consent. Consent's important, ladies and gentlemen. I say that. It's one of the most important things to me. We got David Njoku here. Brock Bowers here is a little bit of value. Of course, one time I don't really have any Brock Bowers correlation. Do you think Njoku with the Miami bring back makes sense? Getting tight ended makes sense. Another RB, Brian Robinson, I do like, would also be okay. Discount Bowers, though. Discount Bowers. Can, I think, prioritize week 17 correlation at this point. Though I do want to be closer to even on David Njoku. There, you got this one. You got the McConkey FUD, and now we get Bowers being always the choice. And that's okay. So, look, we got to make it up at RB here, but I'm pretty confident we'll be able to do it. We have a 2-1-5-1 here. We have AR, Jaden Daniels, Joe Mixon, Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas, and Brock Bowers. So we're live for some later QBs to make up for the week 14 stuff. Got to make it up at RB these next few rounds. And now we have our elite-ish tight end. Hard, I think, for me to flip ADPs for Njoku right now, knowing I still have, 38 drafts left. I don't need to flip that yet, I don't think. Who knows if Njoku gets hurt next week and then he's going in the 120s. So I don't want to flip it for myself, knowing that might be the case. I don't know what we're talking about, but okay. Got a ton of that in the big board, but only 6% post-draft. I think I want less. Look, you can maybe bend over backwards to keep making the case, I think, if you want. I still fundamentally believe that, like, no receiver from that team being the one you actually want is the most likely outcome. And it might not even be their fault of the receivers. I just think that offense might be particularly bad in a way that we're not expecting. And frankly, there might be more tight end production than we're expecting too, given how waxed that tight end room is in terms of talent with guys, like Will Dissly, guys like Hayden Hurst, who's got not a whole lot. Parham we've liked in the past, but he doesn't have enough of a workload. So with all those guys there and tight end having previously been a focus of Greg Roman teams and Harbaugh teams to a somewhat lesser extent, I think that there's enough stuff to be worried about the Chargers overall. I wouldn't lay it all at the feet of Ladd, basically. But I do think that he and Josh Palmer should have been closer this entire time in terms of ADP. Just realize I'm in your draft at the 6 hole. All right, so J-Mad here. Shout out J-Mad. What are these guys doing? I don't know. They're just reaching for players. It's red badges, too. So it's really odd. Yeah, I don't get what's going on here. This guy took 3 QBs. I feel like I've seen Xerxes draft before, and he's not somebody who stood out to me as like an idiot. But I don't know. I don't think this would be collusion because that's not really the way to collude, I don't think. But maybe it creates more of a premium for QBs. So somebody, I don't know. It's really odd to see 2 red badge drafters doing that in the same room. I'll give you that. Worried about Bowers? I wouldn't be worried about Bowers. He'll be fine. There's one thing Gardner Minshew's going to do. I mean, he didn't feed tight ends as much as AR did last year, but in general, in the thick of this offense, I think he's going to feed tight end pretty well. Got to go feed Devontae Adams first and foremost. It's going to be priority number 1 is forcing the ball to him. You have Jacoby Myers there. Like, you have some guys who can take work away. But I think Brock's fine. I mean, Brock's really going to be the guy who takes sort of the low A-dot stuff that Minshew does and makes it into 20-yard plays more than, frankly, more than Adams will, more than Myers will, definitely more than the RBs will. So that's how I'd feel about that. All right, Tyjae Spears here coming back. Gives us some Jacksonville, Tennessee stuff / AR in week 16. And we can live with that. Making it up at RB, and Tyjae Spears is the guy to do that with at a pretty big discount. So we have maybe timed the pockets decently. 9-pick ADP discount on Tyjae Spears after getting an 8-pick one on Mixon. We're okay. Multi-tabling and star method combined. I don't know. It's hard to do that for 3 QBs, though. No one is more hated than he whom speaks the truth. He whom? That's, wouldn't it be he who? Either way, Adam coming in with the AI quote of the day. There we go. Great bit by New Adam. There's a lot of new Adams here floating around. They all have different things. They're like, really, it's an odd thing to see. They're like gremlins. I talked about gremlins on Twitter briefly yesterday. They're like gremlins. They just keep popping up and they're all slightly different. That's Adams for you. We got 2251. Okay, so we got Gus all the way back. I've got enough Gus. I've been trying to up my Rico Dowdle. Tua is not the pick for us right now, no matter what. This has got to be an RB. Who do I like more? Gus or Rico? Rico has week 16 correlation with our Jaden stuff. We're going to go Rico. I'm double the field on Gus, double the field on Zeke. Maybe we'll get double the field on Rico down the home stretch. Team so far is a 2-3-5-1. We've got AR, Jaden Daniels at QB. So 2 week 14 buys, meaning we do probably need to take that third QB. And would ideally like it to not be Daniel Jones. So we're not double counting that one for the same game. Joe Mixon, Tyjae Spears, Rico Dowdle. We got Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas, and Brock Bowers at tight end. So happy with the team so far. I think it's pretty evenly distributed. RB I think I could have really penalized myself here by not taking my first RB till round 6 in this room was a little bit tough. Then punting RB for another 3 rounds and then going pretty late here. But getting Tyjae Spears, who's normally priced in this range, I think feels pretty good. I noticed that when doing the ranks yesterday as well, Javonte Williams coming up pretty meaningfully. I don't know why. I feel like Jaleel McLaughlin's usage in that last preseason game would make me want to bump Javonte down a little bit, along with Estime, clearly going to be the third head in that backfield. So I'm not on board with the Javonte rise, but it does seem like right now, August drafters, aka maybe some casuals, liking him a little bit more than I would, at least. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the stream, by the way, if you're getting some value out of it, subscribe down below, hit that like button. Normally, people watch about 20 minutes here, and I, ever the smart person, I'm putting this plug in at 25 minutes. I should have tried to capture them before they leave. But yeah, about 20 minutes is the normal average watch time here on Slash Play. So if you really want to know analytics, I'm here for you. Football analytics, YouTube channel analytics, let's do it. All right. Couple picks before us here. If you're just joining the stream and you want to catch up with the preseason news, scroll back to the beginning. Did my preseason news update. If you just want my document as well, join down below for $4.99. And also, quick plug to the Best Ball Overlay tool, even though they haven't paid me yet. Best Ball Overlay tool here. Check it out. You can see it on screen here. You got the Week 16, Week 17 matchups. You could also put Week 15 on if you wanted to. We have the exposures down here as well. So that's a big thing that's helping me balance out my portfolio. And I will say the biggest credit I could give to the Best Ball Overlay tool is like I love drafting on my phone because it's just easy to do. I can kind of relax, look at my phone. I like being on my phone. I like drafting on my phone, but yesterday I was like, you know what? The overlay tool is too good. I'm actually just going to do it on my laptop. So the drafts I did yesterday were on my laptop, and I got great value, built 6 teams. So you saw one of them earlier. That's the cosign I give to the Best Ball Overlay tool, promo code SPLASH. Jahan Dotson comes all the way back. We do need RB a little bit more, I think, right here. Yeah, I'm going to go Ty Chandler. Ty Chandler doesn't correlate with anything here that we have, unless there's something I'm not seeing. But he is a guy who has a partial workload, could have a lot more if Aaron Jones goes down. So we are going to go with Ty Chandler here with one of the picks. And next pick, we got some optionality, I suppose. Ooh, long time since I've had the AR jersey on. I've not done my guy AR correct this year. Why so low on AD? Alec Pierce is still mostly blocking him. Downs is going to be back at some point. Then AD is probably not starting. I think that Pierce is more of a block for him than people realize. And I also like Josh Downs more as a play. That's basically it. It's hard for me to get AD too. Like I feel like his price tag, sometimes he'll fall to where I just was. Sometimes he'll go in the 120s. Hard for me to pinpoint down. He also wasn't like great at Texas, but neither was Xavier Worthy. So I guess I can't hold that against him. So we did get Downs and Dotson back. Dotson, everybody who's good with data and the preseason snap stuff says that you should keep taking him. 17% is a little bit much. Josh Downs, we do need an AR real stack at some point, and I don't want to just leave it to be Alec Pierce, so I will go Josh Downs. I think right now the buy is better on Jahan Dotson. Well, that's not true. I like Jahan Dotson still, like, relative to all the fun that's been going on for him lately. Josh Downs, I think, with what he was showing before he got hurt, I think was the better play overall. Both guys fall to the 150s, 160s, so we're not out of them necessarily. But yeah, I went Downs. Just needed the AR correlation more than anything. Rico playing Tampa Bay week 16. I don't have any Tampa Bay. Wait, what? What are you just giving me random things that correlate? Yeah, we got Josh Downs. Give this team a read here. 2-4-6-1. We got there, and there goes Jahan Dotson at 152. Again, think there's fun in him right now. I get he sucked last year. I think at 150, somebody's going to hit. I mean, probably a couple somebodies are going to hit from Washington if Jade Daniels just keeps doing what we've seen so far. 2-4-6-1 build, though. AR and Jade Daniels, 2 week 14 buys, so third QB. Very much a likelihood. I think we've made it up at RB okay. Depends on sticking the last few picks, but we have Joe Mixon, Tyjae Spears, Rico Dowdle, Ty Chandler. We have Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas Jr., and Josh Downs. And then Brock Bowers, our tight end. So some young guys here, some vets, top rookies. I'm happy with the team. I am happy with the team. Down for the down. Hopefully not in general, but this particular down, sure. I feel like Dotson was just way overpriced last year based on his rookie TD numbers, so people don't want to get hurt again. That's a fair way to look at it. That's a fair way to look at it. I think that Dotson is a player that he really needed to show in the preseason for people to want to keep buying in, especially to keep moving him up. And I think he hasn't shown enough, and the Jaden Daniels hype hasn't been enough. As I've talked about too, like, and again, I'm in the bag for Jaden Daniels. I've got almost 40%. Like I'm not immune to that bias that's going to come with that. But that said, it's because I think he's such a strong play. And I also think it's really odd that people, when Jaden has any success, like, oh, 80% completion rate for Jaden, and all this stuff becomes like, oh, he got the ball out under 2 seconds. He's getting the ball out too fast. Oh, Cliff Kingsbury, screen merchant. And it's like, yeah, it's a low A down in the preseason because they want to keep him safe and don't want him to get hurt. Been pretty evident about that because they've yelled at him to slide within the last week. So, like, you want to keep your rookie safe. They're getting the ball out fast so you can get an idea of the NFL speed. And local beat reporters for Washington have said that. But people like just, I don't know. I really don't get it. I feel like I'm like on some weird, like conspiracy theory shit. There's like concerted FUD against Jaden Daniels when he keeps passing every test. And then you have like your cherished first child, Caleb Williams. And it's like, wow, Caleb Williams really had 1 or 2 good plays against the third team defense for the Bengals. And I like Caleb. He's a USC guy. I got a USC blanket behind me. But fuck, man. What does it take for people to give Jaden respect? It's going to be hanging 40 fantasy points in week 2, 3. Honestly, it could be week 1 against the Bucks. Bucks D is not going to do a whole lot, if I had to guess. Coming up here on the clock, though, with our 2-4-6-1 build. Got to think about endgame in a little bit here. I think Jaleel McLaughlin and Bucky Irving, neither would make me feel bad at this point. McLaughlin, I moved up, and we're getting him at an 11-pick discount. So, cool. Jaleel McLaughlin, come on down. Making it up at RB. Very value-laden room here we've gotten, which is nice to see here, given that it's 11 a.m. on the East Coast. Maybe, am I up at the wrong time? Is it actually 11 p.m. and we're getting a rare soft room? Bucky Irving at 168, still priced too low, but that's also going to be the case forever. Marshawn Lloyd goes. I would have dollar costed him down more, potentially. Second tight end here. Could get some more Miami involved. But, boy. I think let's just finish RB, right? The Tank being around late would be nice. We get some... No, never mind. I was going to say we get some correlation. I don't think we do. So we got our 6th RB in here. We made it up at RB, 2-6-6-1. We have AR and Jaden Daniels, Joe Mixon, Tyjae Spears, Rico Dowdle, Ty Chandler, Jaleel McLaughlin, Antonio Gibson. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas Jr., and Josh Downs. The tight end, we have Brock Bowers. So need to figure out who the third QB is going to be. Daniel Jones being there would be logical, except that would make us be stacking both sides of one Week 17 game, which does cut the upside a little bit. That said, the bet on Neighbors is a bet on Daniel Jones, so it might be the most logical way to go. But we'll see what we get on the way back. Got some flexibility, perhaps, theoretically. Caleb hype from this week was a bit wild. I agree. And look, I like Caleb. I'm in the bag for Caleb. People were comparing him to Mahomes. There was some Twitter post I saw that's like, the only QBs in the league that could do this one fucking weird, wonky, falling off his back foot, off-platform throw is him and Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, hey, a lot of guys could do that. They just wouldn't because they know it's not usually a plus EV throw. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it's odd. It's odd for me. I think people have a really hard time grading players and knowing what to be excited about, but seeing big plays, like I get it. You know, the one that got Jaden the most attention is a 40-yard bomb. It's not, you made a nice little run here. You didn't get out of bounds. It's not, this good little swing pass to the receiver that got him, able to run 8 yards after the catch. It's not what people are going to value, but that's not necessarily, what makes for a good fantasy production necessarily. Will Shipley at 180 is egregious. Still behind Kenneth Gainwell. Talked about that yesterday. He did play badly outside of 2 throws. He did, and I'm rooting for Caleb. All the markets on the Bears are still really high in terms of their win total and all that. So I'm not I'm not down on Caleb. I think exposure-wise, I'm with the field on Caleb or close to it. Yeah, 8%. I'm flat with the field on Caleb. I like him, and I take Bears a good amount too. So trust me, I'm not down on him really, but you got to kind of acknowledge what the game was. But people just see the social media clips, and that's it. And that's, it's been the world since social media's been out, but it's like really the world now, I think more than ever. Room was open and Caleb threw him into coverage. Yeah, there were flaws to it. It was still a big play. But yeah, if you point it out and say it like that, for sure. Ben Sinnott at 186. Seems like he's stabilized here. I thought he might come down a little bit playing behind John Bates, not having the big play. But I guess people are okay with Ben Sinnott now. And he will not be our tight end. So we'll survive. But he was an option for sure. Do you like Puka or Devontae Adams better? Puka. It's an ADP biz, Jerry. You got to go by the ADP. Puka's ranked over here. Adams is ranked over here. I mean, look at, wouldn't do that. The Puka did fall in the second round here, but definitely would take Puka. Adams getting old, bad offense. Puka, offense that is smart, good at it. Daniel Jones goes to this guy who seemingly did not have a QB. So I guess I get why he did it. It's not really the way I would do it. That's how he did it. All right, let's set it up. Would make sense to start getting more Colby Parkinson. I did rank him a little bit higher for that reason. But I think we're going to be able to get Derek Carr on the way back. So we can have another Week 17 stack, New Orleans, Las Vegas, obviously a tight end forward one. But we can do that and make sense of it. So that's going to be the goal here. And let's see if we get sniped along the way, as is always potentially the case. I'm not new to the world of best ball. I know how it can go. Take that whole clock. Nothing better than when they take the whole clock. Here when we're just trying to build some momentum, get done with a draft. All right, we're on the clock here. Derek Carr does not go, so we'll finish that out. And I think we're live for maybe a low-owned round 18 guy, but let's give this team a read. We got at QB, of course, our boy AR. Why else ought to be wearing the jersey? Jaden Daniels, Derek Carr. At RB, we got Joe Mixon at a nice value. Ty J, a nice value. Rico, a little bit of a value. Ty Chandler, a little bit of a value. Pretty nice value in Jaleel McLaughlin, and a little bit of value in Antonio Gibson. So we made up an RB room here. More of a traditional zero RB, I would say, than like the modern one, but at least, after Joe Mixon. But I guess that's kind of what a hero RB build would be. So I think I'm okay with it. We got at receiver, Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas Jr., and Josh Downs. And a tight end, Brock Bowers and Juwan Johnson, which I'm okay with being a 2 tight end build. So one more receiver here I think would be good. Trey Tucker team. Trey Tucker teams come too easily when you've got New Orleans and Las Vegas. There we go, Jerry. This Jerry got it right. Jerry back on the winning track here. And Jerry's like 18th round Dalvin Cook. Got to do it. You might be the Cowboys RB at some point. Also, second draft coming up, guys, but don't try to enter it because it's already filled. I think our guy Nolan might have figured out. People might have figured out I was going to do another one. I see some regular names in here, but another draft coming up, which is going to be much more badge heavy. So stay tuned here on that quest to now hit 200 stream drafts in this year. Been streaming since January, and we are dangerously close. Who will be the last pick here for me? I think a Giant would be okay. Alec Pierce would be okay because we didn't make bets on AD Mitchell. People hate the 18th round Alec Pierce, but he's a starter. Oh, man. I mistimed this other draft. So it's not working out perfectly in timing, and also I ended up in a very badge-heavy room. So tough scene. I worried at all with JJ's injury and only 2 tight ends? No. He's going to be back week 1. That's been the whole thing this entire time. He's been running in and at practice. He hasn't practiced himself yet, but he's been doing practice-like things. So we'll be okay. Paul B says, get Hyatt. I've gotten a lot of Hyatt. Diami is interesting. I actually wasn't even thinking of that one. It is interesting. I am team Ray Ray. Ray Ray gives us week 16 and week 17. And I do want to make up on Ray Ray because I was so high. Man, Bigsby's still not getting drafted. Please, guys, take Bigsby in round 18. It's like a gift to get a guy who's getting this much drumbeat. Like, I say drumbeat's an overused word. You get a lot of drumbeat. So another Giant would be okay. I do think Ray Ray as an Atlanta bring back, because I realize now we don't actually have one for that game. So we have everything else game stacked, but not Atlanta. So Ray McLeod, look, I still feel like kind of a flimsy pick, but he was held out of this last game. He's with the starters. That's what matters. Another draft, guys. Here we go. Said we're going to do it. And oh boy, are we going to do it. Let me update the banner. Stream draft number 181 for me on the year. 19 away from the Guinness World Record that nobody wants besides me. And BBM number 113. Lucky number 113. What do we get at the 11 hole? Maybe a shot at the precious Puka Nacua Marvin Harrison? A shot only for ball so hard you to take it away? Let's see. Let's roll these dice. Do we get Puka and MHJ? A combo I've now got 3 or 4 shares of. No big deal. Racking them up. All it took was Puka Nacua getting hurt. Come on, ball so hard you. That's not an accredited university. That's not even a University of Phoenix level. Ball so hard you. Come on. The sports team's a ball so hard you. Time's out on Marvin Harrison. Oh, God. Is he just going to fucking take the whole clock to timeout? I hate people so much. It's round 1. You can't time out in round 1. Ah, just kill the momentum. Oh, good. He woke up to take Jonathan Taylor. Thank God. I've gotten a lot of Harrison in London. I actually haven't gotten a lot of Puka in London. So I'm going to go that way here. Could go up and reach for Debo. I do want to up my Debo. Not there yet, though. Drake London, come on down. You beautiful boy. And yes, this does make us technically live for another Jaden Daniels team, but we'll see. Let's go to the draft board. We take this jersey off. I haven't earned it for this round. Rah, rah. I didn't have to do an animal monster noise there, but I did. All right, doubleheader today. Shout out, you guys. People wanted Casey Washington. Casey Washington locked in the second team. And people wanted Hyatt. I have enough Hyatt. I really feel like I got to actually force myself to take less Hyatt. But he's for sure my, man, it's round 18. I need one more receiver. Can I get some upside? Jalen Hyatt, you're right there. Awesome. Like that's so I make that click too often. That build, it would have worked. But again, we had an Indianapolis Giants. Like, we're trying to build game stacks. The whole thing is building game stacks for week 17. Obviously, you need a team to make it to week 17. And I would say Jalen Hyatt does give a team more upside over the course of a season than Ray McLeod. So I can see where you guys would be right, and I would agree with you on it, to be honest. But got to get my Ray up. So, yeah, great sound effects. Just me grunting. Any round 18 Khalid Raymond? No, that's not even a person, Jerry. No, I'm not a big fan of that. Thank you for immediately getting the correction, though. Good job. I think the wide receiver 3 job, look, you can take him, especially if you have Niners, Detroit stuff. Like, I think that's the way to do that. But to me, still kind of a flimsy play. I also am a big Jameson Williams guy, so my bet is really that concentrates more. I'm also a big Laporta guy. I love Amon-Ra. I love Montgomery. So, like, I've got enough guys there I think are going to get production that taking the wide receiver 3 is, like, not the most appealing. If it were a guy we knew we're locked into the role, great. But I think it's probably going to end up being some Khalif Raymond gets occasional snaps, maybe has a big play. DPJ mixes in. Doris Fountain is getting weaker by the week, but he could still be somebody that mixes in. That's true. Not all wide receiver 3 jobs are valuable, especially when teams do play, enough 12 personnel. And they do play a lot of, shitty other tight end with Laporta out there. Saw Tim Pacheco on the 14th. That's, again, he was targeted well, had the touchdown, but I don't think taking the old guy with the injury history is necessarily a great process. I did bump up Tim Patrick in my rankings, though, because, I think if you've been making, like I have, the Mims Troy Franklin bet, you should probably make some Tim Patrick. I don't know that I will, but I bumped up to 200. I gave him, I gave him respect. I was deferential to the to the older one, Tim Patrick. Even though I think I'm older than Tim Patrick, which really bums you out to say out loud. Pretty confident I'm older than Tim Patrick, in fact. But in my mind, he's like Raiden. Very receiver heavy over here. Holy cow. All right. So Diggs coming up early. Yesterday I got Diggs at 40. It's going to 29 here. Maybe some RB value coming back. QBs for sure coming back, I would think. G. Willikers. Yeah, Derrick Henry falling. This room says no Derrick Henry for them. Till it's pick 32. Then it's appropriate. Tank Dell should fall. He doesn't fall. Tank Dell should fall because of his usage in that last preseason game, playing behind a lot of guys that he shouldn't be playing behind, but also is getting less reliable work than Nico's got an 88% route participation or snap participation. Diggs had a comparable amount there, but was less than Nico. Tank really lost a little bit with that game, but people like him, so he won't come down. But he is the kind of guy that should come down a little. Pacheco here, I would not mind. Given the avalanche-ness of it all, taking Zay wouldn't be bad. Zay's fallen, though. Pittman is not. But I really don't want to be locked into doing AR again. I'm going to go Pacheco here. I've wanted to scoot more Pacheco. This room might not be the time to do it. I think we still need to take receiver with this other pick no matter what, even though Laporta would be tempting to me. All right, Laporta goes. So that temptation's gone. Oh, good. That's smart. That's clever stuff that guy's doing right there, huh? Really brilliant moves across the board. We got Pacheco, Puka, Drake London here. Zay, Pittman. Just so down. I'm going Zay. If the click got in. Yeah, I'm going Zay. I just think Pittman needs to be a little cheaper. Pittman needs to be more like where these guys are. Why is he not like lesser Amari Cooper? I don't get it. Especially in half PPR. Pittman should be right next to Amari Cooper, I think. Like, he's gotten down to the Tank Zay range. That's where he makes more sense to me. But really, he and, honestly, Pittman and Tank Bull should be down to the 40s. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, team so far, we got Isaiah Pacheco, Hero RB build, Puka Nacua, Drake London, Zay Flowers. Couldn't skip receiver again, I don't think, just because of how heavy these guys went at receiver over here, risking getting avalanched out a little bit too much. Pittman or Rasheed, I would go Pittman, I think, in that situation. Because there's just too many weapons for, the Chiefs, even if you expect more pass volume, whereas expect less pass volume for the Colts, but less weapons. Badge, let's take a JJ to ADP, and pulling up Diggs is good for the rest of the room. Praise them into doing it more. You don't really pull up Diggs. Diggs goes at 33. It's not that deep. Out of all the things that happen in a room here, I feel like that's not the one to critique. Especially in a room where there was an avalanche going. Like, he pulled up Diggs over DJ Moore. It's nothing that crazy. A-Rod to go Rasheed. People like Rasheed. I just think you have to know what the real impact is of Rasheed. If you were to do any sort of median projection for it, like Rasheed being out there, you have to expect the Chiefs offense to do more and expect them to drop back more, throw more, like in general. I still don't believe that's the case. I still really don't believe the team is going to go sit back there and go, yeah, you know what? This year we're going to double our ADOT after really dialing it back last year in the first year of Matt Nagy's the OC. Obviously, it's Andy Reid calling the plays there, but it is a noted shift last year. And I still fundamentally believe that. Just think the Chiefs, for Rashee Rice to hit, for all these guys, for Worthy, who's now getting Steen up to hit, for Kelsey, who's never taken any discount at all, for all the reasons you could FUD him, all these guys that hit at their ADP, the Chiefs have to go, yeah, what worked last year, let's throw it out the window. Let's gun it downfield, boys, with our QB, who is essential to everything we do and is getting older. And we've seen what happens when he gets hobbled and how he has to fucking grit his teeth through that. I don't know. Chiefs, obviously the Chiefs are going to win a lot of fucking games. That's not going to be a surprise. I just don't think it happens with vintage Rams offense. So that's why, to me, I'm lower on Rasheed. I know people hate that. People hate when you don't have the the chalk. Oh, the Chiefs are going to go off take. I don't see it. That game, that team last year, Patrick Mahomes barely crested past 20 points at all in the year. And now he's got more weapons. Yeah. So like what? He's getting to 24. Higgins over both Pittman, Rice, Flowers, and Dell. I don't agree with that. Zay is wide receiver 1. Why do we sleep on Zay so much? I know people might go Mark Andrews, but Mark Andrews is going to get chopped a little bit by having Isaiah Likely out there. And Zay was great. Are we talking about Mahomes? Yeah, Mahomes is 28. He's getting to an age where you want to protect him to make sure that he can get to his mid-30s. He's not 22. It's a pretty big, that's the middle of his career. He's been in the NFL for enough time. He's won countless Super Bowls. Are we not going to, what is he, not a vet? That young whippersnapper Mahomes? It's football, man. You're 28. You're like a dog whose teeth are falling out. But I got it. People love the Chiefs. What are you going to do? Mahomes at 58, though. Fudded him down, apparently. Kyle Pitts comes back. Can we leave Kyle Pitts for this guy, or is he going to take another tight end? That's the concern right now. Mixon would be okay. Jaden Reed want up the exposure to a little bit. Godwin, kind of the same thing, but not really. Let's go Jaden Reed here. Want to get more Jaden Reed. He does fall in some rooms. Saw him going at 70 in that crazy room I was in last night. This guy takes Kyle Pitts. I swear to God, man. I would really question the knowledge base being taught at Ball So Hard U. All right, good. Kyle Pitts comes back. Here we go. Kyle Pitts Nation, rise up. We got ourselves a Falcon stackaroo going. We got Isaiah Pacheco, Hero RB build, Puka Nacua, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, and Kyle Pitts. Not setting up Week 17 correlation the way I usually do or try to do earlier on. Doing it the classic way, the way that a lot of people would say is more plus EV. Just doing it, I guess, later on as a tiebreaker. But we're doing it. Mahomes at his prime still. Yes, his prime that you want to protect. His prime you want to protect. Is he, I think, again, I really think when a team wins, I'll make the point one more time and then we'll stop talking about it because I know people don't hate when it takes a little bit too long to end the thing. But the chat's going off here about it. He's at his prime, yes, but like the point is extending his prime. The point is keeping him healthy. Remember when he had that high ankle sprain a couple of years ago, hobbling around? You know when you don't want that? When you're competing for another Super Bowl amidst this dynasty you have that Andy Reid's returning for. So the point is you don't keep the guy back that often because if you're having him dropping back for enough time that guys can get downfield, guys can get open and all that, it still takes time, even though Xavier Worthy's so fast. Like even though Hollywood Brown is so fast, it still takes time for that to develop. So by having him back there, if the line doesn't hold up, stupendously well, even if they just hold up at league average level, you're giving Mahomes so many more hits that he doesn't need. So like, it's hard for me to buy in on this offense being the best version it's ever been right now with aged players and with guys around them. Like they want to ramp Kelsey down. Like you don't ramp people down if you're trying to be a historic offense. That's what I believe. And that's one of the bets I made. So we'll be okay. We can all make our bets. It's half-point PPR. Half-point PPR and a point per Mahomes bash league. So we're building. That's what we're trying to build towards right now. JSN up to 71 here. Brian Thompson up to 68. So you're kind of seeing the after effects of the wide receiver avalanche a little bit on that. And Jason entered that literally. Jason, it's a callback bit to be clear. So we were playing John Drafters a couple weeks ago, and somebody, our pal Diego, was like explaining to me that they were taking receivers early on Drafters because it's full point PPR, as if I were unaware of that as a fact. So it's a fun bit now, but appreciate Jason answering earnestly. That's kind of you. Try to help out. But guys, if you want to help out, hit that subscribe button down below, hit the like button, but also go check out Underdog. I didn't update the graphic, which I should have. $1,000 in bonus cash right now. So again, if you've been holding out, if you're a fantasy football redraft player and you're just like, oh, the stream seems fun, this guy's a fucking lunatic, I'll give it a shot. Now embrace that and go and use promo code SPLASH and Underdog. $1,000 in bonus cash, 4x more bonus cash. So you have to deposit more to get it, but you can get that much bonus cash now. So check that out. If you have deposit Underdog, go check out Drafters. Big cosign to them. And again, I give shout outs to everybody who uses the promo code as well on stream now. It really supports the show, but also supports you because on Drafters, there's a very good shot. There's going to be at least $400,000 in overlay in the Drafters Million Tournament. I can't guarantee that for you, but last year it was 76% filled. This year, if I had to guess, and the co-founder said 75 to 80. So Hundreds of $1,000s of overlay in the Drafters Million, $15 entry fee, 5K to first place, and no pods, no playoff pods. So it is a fun, different way to play if you want to take a break from Underdog. So check it out. Drafters as well. Promo code SPLASH. Drafters.com. DRAFTERS.com. I can spell. I love showing that off. Love flaunting that I can spell. Oh, man. All right. 2 picks coming up here. Ladd going at 82, so it does seem like that price, early 80s for Ladd, seems to be the case, at least for now. We got 4 receivers here. Curtis Samuel, we talked about earlier, dealing with the turf toe. Jordan Addison, I do like. Think we need to not let this guy leave us with whatever he chooses at receiver. So I'm going to go here and go Jordan Addison, get the 5th receiver in, week 17 correlation for Jaden and Addison. Addison, to me, if he's not going to be suspended, greatly undervalued. So that's where we're going to go with that one. So it's a 1-5-1 build right here. No QB yet. And we'll see what the luminaries at Ball So Hard University do with this one. I would take so many universities over this. Chase University from NXT. I would take it over this. All right, Kamara. There we go. There we go. Keep loading up. Stick with those 2 receivers through 8 rounds, Red Badge. We are doing great. We're doing great. Aaron Jones come back. He would correlate. Don't think that reaching up for Jordan Love is the move. Aaron Jones is the pick here. No issue with Jalen Warren either, but obviously he's coming down a little bit more. Aaron Jones is a value technically here. So it was Pacheco, a little bit of discount on him. Aaron Jones, decent discount on him at this point. Puka Nacua, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, and Jordan Addison, and Kyle Pitts. So obviously we'd like to get an Atlanta stack here, given the bet we have on those guys. Everything else still up in the air, though Minnesota looking more likely here with the pick of Aaron Jones and also having Jordan Addison. So Justin Jefferson fade a little bit. Is Deontay Johnson okay? He is okay. Yes, he was back in practice. Where's it go? Wow. Okay, where does the overlay go? So I guess I left this unspoken. The overlay goes to the people. It does not go to charities. The overlay is redistributed amongst the people. So basically then what they would do if it were like on DraftKings last year, there was overlay. They then advance a bunch of people that would have advanced otherwise to fill the tournament. On Drafters, it would just mean you have a higher payout more likely because you're missing all the spots of people that would have been in the tournament. So the overlay goes to you, the customer. That's why it's a guaranteed prize pool with overlay is a good thing for you as a bettor. I know there are people new here, so I'm trying to explain it seriously. You got hurt again, or hurt the first one where he got hurt and came back in? Because he got hurt this morning and came back in. Talked about that. And it was a groin injury was the initial one. But yeah, I didn't know people didn't know overlay. I guess, been in DFS long enough, so that's on me. Just make sure with your Deontay reports that you're confirming the right one. I'll see if I can find that. But yeah, he had gotten hurt this morning again and then came back out and caught a pass and was fine. So. All right, let's see. Deontay Johnson. All right, so he limped. Yes, this is the one here. Limped to the opposite field following an 11-on-11 rep. He's walking it off for now. He's back and just caught a pass. So that's what happened before. So this is it. They're just mistiming it. People missed the update part from the actual reporter, which is a thing that happens. And it's up to you guys, I think, to find your own news and make sure of it. I tried to update you here, but we already got that. We need a badge reset on Underdog. I mean, maybe. Yeah, at this point, you couldn't even add like another one on top because that wouldn't make the most sense either. Jordan Love goes to the guy with Dobbs and Watson. So he went to a good stacked up home here. Good red badge drafter, actually correlating. There we go. I'm right. Saw the update. Hey, look, I try to be. I had to confirm either way. So there we go. Deontay Johnson back. Okay, we're doing all right. In election year, thank you, Jason. Election years, the overlay goes to Democrat campaigns. Yeah. So make sure the tournament's fill, guys, if that's not the way you want it to go. All right. Picks coming up here. Let's give this team a read, recenter ourselves amidst all this Deontay Johnson issues. We got Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Puka Nacua, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, Kyle Pitts. So we have pretty clearly delineated QBs we want to take later on. This does look like an RB pocket. Decent discount on Brooks. I think we got to go Brooks here. I think we are going to be done with RB bright and early based on how this board is shaking out right now. The 0-3-5-1 build with the hero Pacheco. 2 week 6 buys, so we definitely got to get to 4 no matter what. This guy's still taking RBs, huh? I mean, the good news, he left the one I wanted, so we'll get some Oppo Atlanta correlation with Brian Robinson. We'll kind of fade the Jaden part of Washington Atlanta, which is obviously not something I do very often when I'm building on my week 17 Washington Commanders Atlanta Falcons stacks. But it's a 0-4-5-1 build now. We're pretty balanced. I think we could be done at RB. Isaiah Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks at the huge discount. Brian Robinson, a pretty nice discount. Really got a lot of CLV here on the RB room, which is surprising given this badgy room. We got Puka Nacua, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, and Kyle Pitts. So didn't get quite as much CLV on the wide receivers, but definitely getting some real live draft value here on the RBs. Just got to make sure we get the QBs, and that's it. You get a gold badge for 1,500, I guess, but then you just see more idiots with gold badges. Like the thing is, like, because the platform existed so long, you're going to have people that have been playing BBM since BBM 1 who've just lost enough money. And like, and, you know, and then the other tournaments as well. And you also have people that play a lot of the battle royales and lose money there, or maybe even win money in other sport. So I don't think that the badge system will never be one I think you look at again and go confidently say, this red badge drafter's killing it. Like, this is one of the worst red badge drafts I've ever seen. 2 elite tight ends, 2 receivers through 10 rounds. We saw in the last one, 2 red badges taking multiple elite QBs early. It's a tough scene. 15 minutes ago, Tyreek wearing a protective brace in his right hand. Wasn't seen catching passes. Yeah, nothing major. Okay. There's nothing major. I don't even think you have to post it. I try to leave out nothing major injuries unless I feel like it's something I have to point out as like, this is nothing major. It's like, don't freak out about it. But yeah, you know, nothing major injuries. I try not to even worry about. Most injuries I try not to worry about, but nothing major ones for sure. Badges based on advance rate would be fun, I guess. I don't support that one. Unless it's just like over 10%, then okay. But it would also tell you, I think, a little bit more like who's kind of a chalky drafter, because usually the higher advance rate, your higher like finals advance rate would show, you know, you have sort of the tournament brain the best. Your higher, general advance rate would be more a reflection of building median outcome kind of teams. Like those are the people that did pretty well. So, all right, thank you, Sus. I appreciate your contribution, Sus. I feel like I see Sus on a lot of the YouTube streams I watch. So it's like having a famous person here for another streams. We got the real Sus Edwards, Gus Edwards here. Or maybe the fake Sus Edwards, Gus Edwards. Him going at 122. Still one of my favorite clicks in that range. Jalen Wright at 121. Awful click. Awful click. Might just be pure contingent value. We talked about the quote at the beginning of the video. Gonna be a Mostert Achane backfield. Everybody knows that. Wright at best is going to get some scraps, and he's contingent value. If he's not getting the scraps for touchdowns, he's going to be Savon Ahmed. So who's cut now, by the way? Savon Ahmed. Felt like he should have been off that team fucking years ago, but he's now officially off the Dolphins as of, I think, yesterday. There are people drafting for their first year that might be drafting 1,000 teams, which is crazy. But yeah, you could be drafting for the Gladiator, the rewards there. The highest rake back you get if you have drafted 1,000 best ball teams on Underdog for the main season, not including big board, I don't think, unless somebody wants to correct me on that. Then you do get rake back. You get 25% rake back for 1,000. I'm not sure about that offhand because I am not going to hit that threshold this year. Got to do less volume if you want to enjoy every draft. And also if you're funding a startup that's going mediocrely. Let's see what we can get through here, though. Trey Benson should be coming down as well. He's also a contingent value guy. Him not getting pass down work is not going to help him out at that price point. He's with guys. Jerome Ford is legitimately part of the starting backfield for whatever we get from Nick Chubb. He might be the entire starting backfield. Jerome Ford is going right next to Trey Benson, who doesn't really have a role right now. That is price lock from before. He should be falling. 150 is 10%. Okay, good. So hopefully I'll hit that. We got 0451 here. I mean, I'll definitely hit that, I guess. I think I've already hit that. So that's good. Get 10%. Pacheco, Aaron Jones. All right, so we need RBs. Not really. Do we need receivers? A little bit. Do we need QB? A little bit. But it's pretty early. It's pretty early, but my team falls apart if someone does something stupid here. And this has been a room where people are doing something stupid. I'm not going to push Kirk Cousins. I don't think there's anybody on this board that makes the team better right now than Kirk Cousins does. And I just don't trust Ball So Hard You. Ball So Hard You is proven to be an anathema of a college. All right, good. So he didn't take Darnell Mooney. We will get the Atlanta triple then. Could also, no, we got Brian Robinson. I would say could do Eckler, but I don't think I need the 5th RB, at least at this point. Darnell Mooney, though, is wide receiver 6. Increase the Atlanta bet a little bit. I think it's possible that this is more of a team where Mooney ends up with more targets distributed his way. He's a wide receiver, too. He's been locked into that job. So let's go. We had Kirk Cousins at QB, Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks, Brian Robinson Jr., Puka Nacua, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, at tight end Kyle Pitts. So team's looking good. We got the Atlanta triple. We don't have a bring back yet, but we'll have some options coming up at various points. So we're doing okay. Doing okay. I'm on a streak. Thank you, Matthew here, one of our earliest regulars. Appreciate him. I'm on a streak of building some nice teams, but I think this one is pretty clean. At a 3% advance rate my first year, stumbling an underdog in 2022, improved to 19% last year. Ceiling's roof. There you go. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even expect to get 19% again. And I've talked about it before. Like, I've been crippled by injuries for 2 years for the majority of my biggest exposures with AR last year. Previous year before that, just ended up with too much Trey Lance. And also Darren Waller was like one of the bigger killers. But 2 years in a row where like I made big bets and they were guys that just didn't get there because of injury. This is before Waller sucked for what it's worth. Trey Lance, though, we found out he sucked and then he also got hurt. So for that stuff, like, I'm not an advanced rate snob or anything. I also, again, made the finals with, I think, with the injuries I had the year before last, I had a just shy of 14%, maybe closer to 13 the year before last. Last year, I think, had just under 15, if I'm remembering correctly. So like would be under average. But if you're building teams that are off the beaten path, you're building teams that aren't, especially RB heavy early on, that are different structures, that are more tournament, structures, you are going to have a lower advance rate too. So it is kind of a push-pull. In a perfect world, you can make it work. And I do think this year aligns better to be able to build tournament-y teams, but still have a good advance rate. So that's what I'm hoping for, is that I can be like, well, finally, I avoid catastrophic injury. And also I build teams that have a better median projection. I'm hoping that my advance rate smash this year, but if it doesn't, and I have teams that at least have tournament-y kind of wide receiver upside builds and a lot of week 17 correlation, you just want those guys to sneak in. Like having world beater teams doesn't really matter as much as having teams that sneak in, maybe some low ownership guys, then they hit. So that's the balance. But, like I made 4 finals in the last 2 years of having a below average advance rate. On DK, I smashed last year because DK was just so soft. But yeah, like that's, what I would say to anybody out there. Like the advance rate stuff isn't everything. CLVs and everything. They're all things that are helpful when you look at the overall picture, but there is still, gray areas in between, minutia in between and all that. And especially when you make big bets. If you make big player base, player take bets, even more than, 16% is like kind of a mid one, but 25, 30%, I know people, we've seen them on social media. We've seen them on stream, make 80% bets and stuff. Those are ones where it's like, that could be your entire portfolio going down. So, the appetite for variability, for variance, that's how it's going to go. All right. So people want different advance rate bad as well. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But you are right about that. DK drafts are the Wild West. We know that one dear to our heart. All right, guys. Picks coming up here. If you're enjoying the stream, hit that like button, subscribe. Your engagements go a long way for me. Just a sole proprietor here, showing you my gambling on stream and talk about the game theory, talk about stuff. And of course, always being honest and candid about it. I show my process here. Did it all of last year. This year, even more so. So that like button and subscribe. Probably a good splash on Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash. A good splash on Drafters, $100 in deposit match. So that's a full match on Drafters. Give yourself a shout out tomorrow if you deposit today. Picks coming up, though. Now I've hoarded adequately. All right, so we got Stafford back. I think a 3 QB build here wouldn't feel bad. Getting this guy, got a little bit of a value. I don't trust him. So Matthew Stafford's my pick. I've decided as well, in general, with how I'm handling QB stuff, it really comes down to, do I think the people around me are dumb enough that they can fuck up me pushing QB? That's where I am at right now. So out of all the people who've been frustrated watching me push QB a little bit too far on stream, that's where I've landed, is that I now mostly just want to gauge around me who's stupid and how much are they going to fuck me. And that's how I'm handling it. Tight end would be okay here, but none of these guys make the most sense. Demarcus Robinson, a little bit of a reach here, but he's not coming back. I'm going to go Demarcus. I think Marshawn Lloyd would be okay here as well. The 5th RB, but I just don't feel like we need it. And I'd rather build out a little more Stafford. So we're basically fading Cooper Kupp. Would still like to maybe get another Arizona receiver late, but let's see what we can do with that. 2-4-7-1 build. Cousins and Matthew Stafford. Think we're still going to take a 3rd QB here as well. Isaiah Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks, Brian Robinson Jr. Got Puka Nacua, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, and Demarcus Robinson, and the tight end Kyle Pitts. A little bit tough to take Robinson ahead of ADP right now, given the fact that Jordan Whittington is sort of squeezing him down a little bit. But that said, I think those guys are very similar bets, with obviously Robinson having the lead position right now. And we've seen Robinson spike. So in this build, I'll reach for him a little bit. Really don't think anything else was more appealing. 3-5-8-2, maybe. That's a 5. Have I considered getting more Jacobs? I've considered it. Hasn't happened. I'm still okay with him as a play. Really don't know that he's somebody I want to reach for ahead of ADP. Like in this room, where would I've had a shot at him? Like in this room, I'm not taking him at 38. So it's got to be very specific, I think. And I honestly wouldn't mind getting it in builds like this guy got it, where he got it with like a Green Bay stack. I think that appeals to me more. But I should make the it's a fair point by Adam. I should make the Oppo Marshawn Lloyd bet, but I still really do believe in the Marshawn Lloyd bet. And I believe in most of what that signal is. But yeah, overall, my exposure in him is still probably 2%. Yeah, 2% on Jacobs, which I could close the gap on. I think the issue with me with Jacobs too, because I don't mind him as a play. I think he and Mixon are very similar plays. But that's the issue, I guess, is that like he's priced differently than those guys. I don't think he's quite Derrick Henry in terms of where he is, but he's priced like he's between them, which I guess is fair in terms of the market's pricing of him. But I think the price tag has always been weird to me. I have the Marshawn Lloyd bet, so that part makes it weird too. But because I have the Marshawn Lloyd bet, I should get some Jacobs exposure. And I think that's one to prioritize. There's been a few I've wanted to prioritize that I've seen within the last day. I feel like Jacobs would be one. Wan'Dale Robinson is one I would like to prioritize a little bit more. He's locked into a starting role there. He's not alternating. It's him and Neighbors seemingly going to be a pretty small receiver core there for the Giants. But like Wan'Dale at his price tag, and I just kind of miss him in this ADP range. Quentin Johnson at one. This is our guy Nolan. Nolan, you took Quentin Johnson at 167? He's going undrafted. He went undrafted in the last room I was in. But yeah, Jacobs is more of one of those blind spot picks, I think. Just don't like the range he's in. Would rather have Cook there too. And Pacheco back when he was there, but obviously he's not there anymore. All right. So at this point, we got 2 QBs. Third one is in play, but really hard to figure out when to take the third one. I mean, look, I see 2 picks on the board that would make a lot of sense for me here. That's right. The one Georgia player that our guy Adam doesn't like is old James Cook. All right, Greg Dortch. We got him as the bring back. Would like to get an 8% Dortch. Wide receiver 8 Dortch. And I think with this next pick would potentially be QB3 to give us the 3rd game stack. And 2 tight ends down the home stretch, if I had to guess. Oh boys. Poor Zamir. Yeah, Zamir Bags, talk about in the news segment. Not looking the best right now. Probably doesn't matter that much. All he needs is just to beat out Alexander Madison again over time, which, as we saw last year, it's pretty easy to do. We got Kate Otten likely. So tight end would not be bad here, but it doesn't really correlate. I worry about pushing Darnold all the way back around. The Jefferson drafter only has one QB. Need the third game stack, I think. Darnold in round 16, I guess, is my price tag for him. Though it's about right, though, because I've got these guys 180, 181, 182, 185. I had Darnold right in the back of this pack. So this price tag works for me. So 3 QBs here, 3 game stacks we also have right now. We have Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold, 2 week 6 buys, and hopefully Sam Darnold will be playing by the week 12 bye. We got Isaiah Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks, Brian Robinson Jr. At receiver, we have Puka, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, Demarcus Robinson, and Greg Dortch. And a tight end, just Kyle Pitts for now, but we see that tight end's just kind of hanging around here. So hopefully we'll still get a good tight end back at 203. Sammy, Big D, yeah. Big Darnold, Big D. More in the field of Zamir. You hate to see it. Where am I on Zamir right now? I think I'm like 9%. No, I'm at flat 8 on Zamir. So yeah, I might have bumped it down a little bit more. I didn't see all the social media panic about Zamir White yesterday before doing my rankings because I basically just like hopped in and did them as soon as I finished the stream, or as soon as I finished like all the work stuff I had to do. And I would say for like, I don't know, just take the price a little bit off. Anyway, the rankings are hard to do is the other thing I would say. Rankings are really hard to do because like for guys like Darnold, people really do take him everywhere. I've seen Darnold go into 13th. I've seen Darnold go in the 18th. It's hard to find the right point for those guys, the right price point for those guys. For Zamir White too, it's hard to know like how people are going to overreact to him. I think that's where I was trying to go with it. How people are going to overreact to like, you know, the usage being a share. Like we thought it was going to be a share. I thought it was going to be more Dylan Labe involved instead of just all Alexander Mattison. But like Alexander Mattison we saw last year kind of sucks. So like the play isn't that different. It's just guaranteed touches versus non-guaranteed touches. People really can't handle non-guaranteed touches, which is surprising sometimes. Flat 8%ers. Just mostly that people are figuring out that he split a lot of time with Alexander Mattison in both preseason games. So first team work has been, I don't know, like what is it? Slightly favoring. It's not even like heavily favoring Zamir White, like slightly favoring him. So that's the main thing that like a lot of viral tweets going around about Zamir White's workload and people panicking about him. And probably victory lapping somewhere out there, though I haven't seen it. All right. So we got a little bit here for the picks. Draft number 2 here. Trying to keep the energy up as the clock gets real slow. Parkinson goes here, a bit of a downer. He was one of the tight ends I was eyeing up, but Falcor wanted some Rams correlation, I suppose. And Parkinson is priced here now. Parkinson is safely priced within the top 200. So there we go. I do not drink coffee. Drink cold water. It's as much of a boost as I get. Zamir feels live for like 250 to 300 touches. I mean, you got to cut that if Madison's going to be in the mix. But upside-wise, like you could still get enough per game. We need someone to victory lap. Zamir White's bad news. I may know a guy. I'm sure somebody's already done it 10 times over. When in doubt, somebody's already victory lapped something. So my lunch, man, I usually don't eat lunch. I usually wait until dinner time and I'll snack a little bit. But I do mostly intermittent fasting throughout the day. So nothing too exciting today. Weekends, I will deviate from that, of course. All right, so 3, 4, 8, 1 here. Again, we need to just make it up a tight end. I'm going to end up with too much Juwan Johnson. I can fully admit that. You know, that said, still a good pick here, I think. Though Zach Ertz, I would like to get more of, but you know what? I don't think this guy's going to take Zach Ertz. So let's go Juwan Johnson. We will get Zach Ertz as a bring back as well. Nothing else bring backy I could do from Green Bay at tight end. I could have done Tucker Kraft, I guess, but Juwan Johnson's like an infinitely better pick than Tucker Kraft. So my final pick here, one more tight end, is going to be Zach Ertz, who weirdly doesn't come up. For as much as the markets love old established players, doesn't come up. I didn't see that, so I can't tell you how serious it is. I probably wouldn't freak out about it, but again, Gainwell's ahead of him, so I'm still not Team Shipley. Still not Team Shipley. Theo Johnson, I got to make some Zach Ertz bets because I have so much Benz in it. Final team here is a 3-4-8-3. We have Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold. Went fragile here at RB with Isaiah Pacheco, but it's a hero or Pacheco build. Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks, Brian Robinson Jr. So, look, I think it's a tough needle to thread maybe, but these are all guys with real roles, 3 real starters, 1 guy we expect to take over the job. I can live with it as my RB room. Receiver, we have Puka Nacua, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, Demarcus Robinson, and Greg Dortch. And a tight end, Kyle Pitts, Juwan Johnson, Zach Ertz. So we got 3 game stacks here. We got Kirk Cousins with the bringbacks of Brian Robinson and Zach Ertz. We got Matthew Stafford with Puka Nacua stacked up and the bringback, and Demarcus Robinson, and the bringback of Greg Dortch. And then we got Sam Darnold stacked up with Aaron Jones and Jordan Addison, the bringback of Jaden Reed. So this team is really nicely correlated. I think that was a clean one. So that's the final one for me today, guys. Please, if you are new around here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button before you go. I've got new drafts every day here on Splash Play. At 11 a.m., they'll be going. So that's what I'm doing. BBMs during the week and drafters on the weekend. So make sure to also check those sites out. Underdog promo code SPLASH gets you a $1,000 deposit match now. Biggest deposit match in the entire industry by like 10x. So check it out at Underdog. Of course, if you already deposit Underdog, play on drafters. Very good shot of there being literal hundreds of thousands of dollars in overlay on drafters. So go check it out now. Drafters.com, promo code SPLASH. That's DRAFTERS.com, where I always flaunt my spelling here. And promo code SPLASH. So that gets you a $100 deposit match in the Drafters Million. 17 weeks, no pods, no playoff pods. Total points. So the luck component goes out the window. That's what you get at Drafters. And again, the overlay as well will give you a better shot at winning. Last year with the overlay they had, I finished top 110 with just 9 entries. So you can do that for yourself as well. Shout out to all the fine folks who joined the channel. You too can join now below for $4.99. You get a VIP Discord, my rankings updated weekly. I guess we'll have one more big update, and then that's probably it for us. But that's been going on all year. My news document, team reviews for me if you want. You get all that here. So check that out. Hit the join button down below. And hey, follow me at Chris Spags. Gamble responsibly. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. And I'll be back tomorrow with more, hopefully building some more good teams. So I'll see you guys then, hopefully. And if not, enjoy your days. And of course, good luck. Bye-bye.